Hello and welcome to my channel. For those of you who don't know, I'm a huge fan of Morecambe and Wise. They're a popular British comedian from the 60s, 70s and 80s, and for a while now I've been wondering how best to pay homage to them. And then I found these 3D prints by Tom Marshall. You can find him on social media by searching for Buggle Skelly Station. These are resin printed, so they are fragile. I have all three Morecambe and Wise figures that he produces. There's one of Ernie Wise, and then there's two variations of Eric Morecambe. So I'm going to carefully unpack these and take a closer look, after they've been sat on my to-do pile for quite a few months. The models aren't 100% accurate, but they're close enough for this scale. There's still a couple of support tabs on these guys, so they need filing off. I'm going to get these guys painted up first before deciding what I'm going to do with them. So first of all, we're going to cover them in primer, and this will give the paint something to stick to. Then I'm going to paint a fresh tone over their hands and faces. Painting all your models at the same time is called batch painting. This is the quickest and most effective use of time. Next, I add a fresh wash, and this will create some contours on their faces. I always like to finish the head before moving on to the bodies, so paint Ernie's grey hair first. Eric has black hair along with black glasses, so they're painted together, and I really struggled to get those glasses right because they were so fine. I even added Eric's bald spot by dabbing on some black paint, and then carefully finishing off the remainder of the glasses. They wore a variety of suits during their time, usually of different shades of blues or browns. Whichever colour I picked, I also added some white to it so I could paint the shirt, and then the ties were painted a darker version of the suit. The shoes were painted either in brown or black, and Eric's pipe was painted in brown. And then it was just a matter of carefully painting the suits and adding a second coat if needed. And then afterwards, I dry brushed on a lighter version of their suits so to see some of the highlights. Plus I also paint the buttons on their suit jackets, which are smaller than a pinhead. Both Eric and Ernie had their very own statues. Eric's is in his hometown of Morecambe, and Ernie's is virtually on my doorstep in Morley. Plus there's also a statue of them both together in Blackpool where they regularly performed. This is just stage one, and I'm going to make two sets now. One for both Eric and Ernie together, plus another one for the alternate Eric on his lonesome. I have some 5mm PVC board as well as 1mm PVC board, plus a sheet of paper so I can sketch down some ideas. I'm going to start off by making the easiest of these two scenes, and that's going to be Eric all by his lonesome on the stage. And I'm using the 5mm thick board as a base. Since this is going to be a traditional stage, I need to mark out some wooden boards, and once that's done I can score everything with a hobby knife, and this will help to create the illusion that the boards are all individual pieces. I have a great technique for creating the wood grain, and that's by using these metal brushes. Just as long as you don't use them on your teeth, you'll be alright. By giving this board a once over with a heat gun, you'll allow all the seams to open up a little bit, and this will help to add the extra dimension. These wood stain sample bottles are very cheap and very effective, so I'll find the appropriate colour and brush on a couple of layers. Bear in mind that the brush strokes as well will also add to the grain effect. Just remember that this stuff will take a little while to dry. The next step is to add a neat black trim around the edge, and after that I can get to work on the curtain which sits at the back of the stage. And for this I'm going to heat up some 1mm thick board and press it between these rods to get the curve effect. This doesn't need to be too perfect, as curtains themselves can be quite random the way they fall. I do the same with the other half, then glue them together, making sure that they overlap. I then glue them onto a backing board, as this will help make it easier to glue to the base, and it will slot on like so. But next I need to get it painted. Most of the time the curtains were drab orange or drab yellow colour, and this is what I ended up with. Next I'm going to build up the living room set. I've got all the pieces cut out already, I just need to glue them together. After this thin piece of styrene, I'm carefully cutting out the window frame. All it takes is one little slip up and I'd have to start again. Now it's just a matter of pushing out the unwanted pieces. And again, I'm being quite careful here. Under pressure, styrene likes to snap off at the weakest point, which should always be where you've scored, but it's still tense. And I'll just quickly show you where that's going to go. But first, I need to neaten up the edges and make sure everything's nice and tidy, and that's where the mini file comes in handy. Also using the same styrene, I measure out and score what's going to be used as the skirting, and this will also help add the join between the paint on the walls and the floor, and therefore mimicking what skirting board does in real life. These sets change colour and style throughout the years, but the colours were always fairly plain and basic, so I settled on green and blue so it wouldn't clash with what the guys are wearing or the furniture. I'm now going to glue on the skirting and the window, and this really does transform the room. Now is a good time as any to paint on the black trim, and this just neatens everything up and makes it look more professional. I think it's time to start adding the furniture. I have these mini art boxes with everything at the right scale, and I think I'm going to start off by building up one of these pianos for the stage set. I just need to follow the same process as with any other model kit, and that's cutting it out, tidying it up and gluing it together. I use plastic cement for this as it basically welds both parts together, and after a few minutes I end up with a completed piano along with the stool. Here's a quick look of how I'm planning on displaying the stage set. I'm going to finish painting everything, and I'll check back at the end of the video to see the finished result. In the meantime, I add on some curtains for the living room, and these were made entirely from scratch, whereas everything else were kits made from the mini art boxes. I'm adding some PVA glue to the back of these frames so I can add on the prints, and these were cut out from the instruction sheet and then super glued to the walls. I found these to be very effective in bringing the living room to life, and now I need to crack on and build up a bunch more furniture. Just like with the pictures, I cut this rug out of the instruction sheet, and I'm going to glue this on with some PVA glue. Furniture wise, I'm going to make a sofa, a couple of tables and a lampshade, and once all those are in place, I can add the boys. First up is the stage. Eric is on his own here because I had an alternate sculpt, and I didn't want him to go to waste, so I created this bonus stage setting. And he was well known for playing the piano. He could play all the right notes, but not necessarily in the right order. Next up is the flat set, and this is with both Eric and Ernie, and for me this symbolises some of their best work. We have a pile of books on the coffee table, what Ernie wrote, plus we have a window at the back where Eric can keep an eye on Ada Bailey. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if I can do it, so can you.